Sanam Aloha. So today I want to talk about Neptune that has just moved into Aries, and it's in the 25th gate basically until 2027. It's back and forth. It goes to the 25 to the 17, but it's in the 25 till the December 2027. So the theme here is awakening the spiritual warrior, Neptune and Aries. So in this video, we'll go over the term Shaktipat. We'll do a Phoenix fractal reading. We'll go over the global cycles, the locks and keys. We'll go over Neptune and Aries, and we'll go way, way back to the 1300s and talk about spiritual fragmentation and trauma, and how that affects you in this lifetime. And we'll talk about history repeats and the Cathar prophecy. And then we'll go into the twin flame messages and then the human design type messages. And then I'll give you some hot tips and guidance to work with this energy, and then we'll close. Okay? So again, what's the fractal here? The fractal, the Phoenix fractal, in case you're new to this channel. Well, a fractal is a soul line. There's 144,000 templates, and there's one template that we all belong to. And so that will be unique to you. So if you're on my fractal, the Phoenix fractal, you like the sound of my voice, your body relaxes, your breath becomes deeper, just listening to me. And the other thing is, this is for Pluto and Scorpio, the indigos, Pluto and Scorpio, born between 1984 and 1995. Or if you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, or you really resonate with this message, you may be an early indigo. Okay, and yeah, if you resonate with the message, all are welcome. Okay, so there's the 25. So we'll go deeper into this with this 25, but I want to lay down the base note, and the base note is the fractal, is the Phoenix fractal. A quick tarot read, and the question was aligning with the consciousness of this fractal, the Phoenix fractal, and asked some key questions, which were, the first question was, what's the karmic wound, right, that this fractal is transmuting at this time? And we got the Two of Cups reversed. So this is the false twin, the false union, sacred union. And this is the belief that this false twin is your divine counterpart, when in actuality they are your trauma bond, right? Disguised as a twin flame. And we're going to talk about where this comes from. So you're working on this, really discerning your relationships. So this is a total Pluto and Scorpio thing. It's like, I will stay with you. I will prove my loyalty, even if it destroys me, right? So this is not love. That is not love. This is a karmic twin trap. And I'm going to talk about a soul trap. This is a soul trap right here. So this is like you're finally ready to break the spell that was cast upon you over 700 years ago. We'll talk about that. So if it hurts like death, if it's so painful, it isn't divine. And if it silences your voice, it isn't love, right? If you can't be yourself, that is not love. And so this is the lie that you've come to put an end to. And what sacred memory is being reawakened is your strength, right? This is your remembering that you're a priestess, a high priestess, that once initiated others, right? That once led temples. So this is the quiet power within you, right? And you're tapping into this without fear. So this is the dignity, right? This is Leo, right? This is the dignity that I do not chase this. I do not give my energy to this false relationship anymore. Right? It's not loud, it's subtle, it's restrained, it's sovereign. And this is your body remembering the time where power didn't mean pain. When I step into my power, I create pain with this karmic relationship, right? Power doesn't mean you're remembering that. Power doesn't equal pain for you. So the message here is you don't have to roar. Your silence holds the codes in your body, right? They're older than language, these codes in your body, and you're not small, you're sacred, right? So what illusion has to be burned away? This King of Swords who shows up in so many of my readings, right? This character right here. And this character is, I know everything, right? I know everything. I'm so logical, but I've got nothing going on in my heart region. It's all the head, right? The head on a stick guy. So this is the illusion that's got to go. And this is like following false teachers, putting people who are very intellectual on a pedestal, thereby denying your own inner knowingness. You've been gaslit by healers, it says here, and you've been confused with detachment, with wisdom, right? You've been confused with, I know, I know things. My head is filled with all kinds of knowledge, and you confuse that with wisdom. And those are two different things. Somebody who knows a lot isn't necessarily wise. So this is the devil's disguise, right? It's clarity without compassion. So you're being asked to break the spell of the cold king, the ice cold king, right? And trust the King of Wands. That's what you're being called to do here, is to trust the King of Wands. So you don't need another man who knows everything, right? You're attracted to, this man knows a lot. I'm attracted to him, right? You need to be with someone who knows you. Doesn't know everything, he knows you, right? And your knowing is already sacred, right? So what's the next soul assignment in 2025 is this King of Wands. And so this is about you stepping into your leadership, stepping into your own leadership. This is about you stepping into your fire, right? And you're not afraid of it. And it's also honoring your power, and you don't need to do a dog and pony show for love, right? You don't have to do that anymore. So you're not afraid of your fire anymore, right? Because you are the fire, divine feminine. And the divine masculine holds the fire with you, right? Holds the fire. He's not threatened. The divine masculine is not threatened by your power. And then this, what needs to be in right relationship to heal your relationship with your divine masculine, your divine counterpart? This, right? That you don't need to do everything alone. And this screams, I do it, I'm an island, I have to do everything by myself, right? This is over-dependence, and this is fear of receiving, right? And it's so warped because you've come in being betrayed by men, right, from your past lives, in this lifetime too, that any healthy masculine that comes towards you, you're immediately suspicious, right? You're immediately suspicious. And there's a distrust in even healthy masculine support. So there's shame around desire, your desires. And so this is, you've been burned so deeply, right, in the past. So the divine masculine for you, divine feminines, isn't trying to fix you. It's not running in and being the white knight and saving you. The divine masculine stands beside you, right? And isn't threatened by your power. And vice versa, right? Self-sovereign, hold on to yourself. This is the new cross of the sleeping phoenix. It's the Aquarian age, right? And then, so what frequency must you hold, right? Must you hold right now? And the frequency that you hold right now is just trust, right? And it's time to let go. It's time to soften. It's time to soften, right? So then you've got the anchor cards. And what would a reading be without that devil, eh? These are your anchor cards. So the anchoring the whole reading here. You got the devil, and then you got the death card, and then you have the empress, which is the divine feminine. So this is about letting go. Whoops. This is about karmic entrapment, right? Letting go of this karmic entrapment that's connected to this Two of Cups. And this is the false sacred unions, the spiritual lies, the obsession with pain as proof of love. Well, I'm suffering, so it means that I love the person. This is such a Pluto Scorpio thing, is to let this go. It's a lie. And this obsession, and your so this was never love. It was always a trap. It was always a trap. So now you're being called out of the illusion, right? Here. And then look what's under it, right? So this has to go with the death card, this dynamic. And this is codependency too. The devil can represent codependency. And then the Empress is under that. So this has to go so that the divine feminine can be born here. And this is you in your power. And then you've got these cards. Here you got the whale reversed. And then you've got where is it? So the whale reverse says this is the grief, right? This is the grief that you haven't really touched into yet. The whale reversed here. This is the ancient one, right? The deep feeler, the soul memory holder. But this is unfelt grief. And this is sorrow from lifetimes. Lifetimes and lifetimes of sorrow. So this represents, like on my fractal, that these are the women that have been betrayed in love, told to stay silent and small, right? They've never really mourned, right? They've never really mourned this. And this could be like losing mothers and sisters and friends and lovers. But you learn to stay afloat above the pain to survive. So you've been carrying this grief for centuries, and it's time to grieve. It's time to feel this. And then you've got dragonfly, and this is cracking the illusion. So this is the veil is lifting, and you're starting to see this false twin trap. You're starting to see this, especially with Neptune moving into Aries out of the illusionary Pisces sign, right? So you're starting to see it. And then you've got the shark. And this is sacred rage, right? Sacred rage. And your instinct is returning, right? So the shark is unexpressed rage and anger from lifetimes. And this is your instinct coming back online. And this is the guardian of boundaries that says never again. This will not happen again, right? And so this is the power that you're punished in past lives, and it's the Lilith codes are awakening in you now, the Lilith codes, right? So you're not going to let people feast on your body anymore and call that love, right? And then you've got the cosmic egg, and that's completion. This is your finale. This is the seal, right? And so this is returning. So you burn the karma, you've cracked the illusion, right? And you've stirred the rage, and now you're ready to hatch into wholeness now, as that you know, the divine feminine there. So the thing is, you were never lost. You were hidden in plain sight, waiting to be remembered there, right? So power's returning, the feminine's being reborn, the grief was buried, it's coming up now. Beautiful for Neptune. Okay, so let's go to these codes then, right? We're going to go into these the codes here. So 25 here. So if we look at this, there's the global cycles. And so we're in the last epoch, right? It goes all the way back from 16,000 years ago, almost 17,000 years ago. And you can see we're at the end. This is called an epoch, right? So we're at the end here. In 2027 is a new global cycle that's happening. So we've gone, I'm going to go as far as back as the cross of consciousness that started in 1203 to 1614, and then we'll go over the cross of planning that we're in now, and then 2027, the 2438 is the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So you'll notice that there's locks and keys, and I'm not going to make this too complicated because this can get very complicated in human design. So there's the lock. We're going to talk about this lock, the 25, right? Because Neptune's in the 25 right now. And then we'll talk about these different keys, and the key is changing. So this is about love, right? So to open up the lock of love, right, of which is spirit, is took a certain key. So and then we'll look at how this ties in with the divine feminine. Okay? So if we look at this, from 1203 to 1614, there was the cross of consciousness. That was a global cycle. So this means that the energy on the planet shifts and changes, right? So we've got this program that's 70% of neutrinos are coming from the sun, and this is what creates these programs. So it's a shift. It's an energy shift. So what was going on here? This was the cross of consciousness. So the lock is the 25. It's always the same, right? The lock is 25, and then the key is different. And the 63. If we go back here, the 63 comes off the crown chakra there. And this is the gate of doubt. And so basically, I'll believe it only when I can prove it. So what is this era birth? The Inquisition. This was the rise of reason. And this is when the heart and the mind became divided. There was a schism. So there's the innocent heart of the 25 is locked, and the key 63 is doubt, suspicion, logic. So this is why the priestess was burned during this time. This is why God, the divine, was stripped from the body, right? Temptations of the flesh, right? Because of this, you got to prove it. So the key here with the 63, it was mental. So the heart could not open because it had to be defended with proof. You got to prove it. So we're still the children of that doubt, even though it was so long ago, right? And then if we go to the next cross, the cross of planning that we're in right now, now it's coming to an end, 1615 to 2026. Well, the key was the 37, right here, coming off the solar plexus. So we went from there, the head, the crown, into the solar plexus, the 37. And this is huge, right? This is being mutated, and this is why we're seeing so many changes on the planet. But let me just stick with this, right? So the key 37, this was the gate of harmony, family, and loyalty. So what was the love here? It was love through duty, right? Union through order. So this era brought in the nuclear family, right? It brought nation-state structures. It brought marriage contracts, gender roles, communal codes, and the heart begins to open, but only through belonging. I have to belong somewhere. I have to belong to a community, a family. Protection and tribal rules, and there always is a bargain, right? This is a tribal gate. So this is basically, I will love you if you obey me, Divine Feminine. And you're safe if you stay small, right? Don't rock the boat. Don't say too much, right? Do not speak too loud. It will shame the family. So for women, especially the Pluto and Scorpio women, this created trauma bonds in the guise of love. Oh, this is romance, but it was really a trauma bond. So the heart, the 25th gate, was not free. It was owned. I own you. You're my property. I own your heart, right? So it was owned. And now we're moving into a new key in 2027 to 2040-38, and that's the 55. So you want to check if you have that in your chart right there off the solar plexus. So we went from collective circuitry, and then we went to tribal circuitry, and now we're going into individual. The 55th gate is individual. So this is the gate of spirit, right? This is freedom and emotional awakening. So this is love is a frequency, and spirit is sovereign. So now the heart is really opening for real. There's no conditions here. You don't need to, you don't have to prove. So you don't have to prove something to me, and you don't have to obey me, right? There's not a transactional relationship here. The heart is opening for real this time. So not through proof, not through duty, but through your embodied spirit, right? So this is your Divine Feminine coming through. This is you fully embodied, right? You're fully incarnated in your body. And then this 55 comes in. So this is about you feeling everything. The gate 55 says feel everything. Let it move you. Your freedom is holy. That's a good thing that you're free. And your pain is a portal. Your pain is a portal into awareness. So this is being the alchemist, right? Like feeling your pain. And it's just a portal. It's something that you have to pass through. It's not a proof of your love. It's just something that you pass through because you are love, right? So you're not seeking love outside of yourself anymore. So this is the age of emotional awakening that we're in, we're already feeling this. So the feminine is rising not as a wife, right? Not as a role, but as a channel of the divine. So gate 25's always been the lock, but now the key is frequency. It's not logic. It's not loyalty. It's liberation. And frequency is your authenticity, right? That's your essence. That's what's going to open up the lock for the 25. So we're all going to be impacted by this new energy. But I'm just showing you how it relates to the Divine Feminine. Okay, so let's talk about the Cathars here. You may have heard of them. I'm going to put a link to a documentary on Rumble that you can watch. It's 45 minutes. There's not a lot written about the Cathars, and you're going to find out why. So this is when Neptune was in Aries, right? Was the 1200s to the 1300s, right? The 1300s, Neptune was in Aries. So this connects to this time, right, of the spiritual warrior. So the Cathars were a Gnostic group that split from the church, right? So gnosis means direct experience with the divine. It's not learning from books, right? It's learning from your own soul. So the Cathars are the pure ones, they were called, and they're very connected to the teachings of the Divine Feminine. So they were peaceful people. And how the Divine Feminine flowed through them was they believed that Mary Magdalene was a holy one, and that she wasn't a prostitute as the church falsely claimed, but as the embodiment of Sophia, the divine feminine Christ. And she was a teacher of love, gnosis, and resurrection. And so for many Cathars, she was one of the apostles, right? The other thing is that they believe that the Holy Spirit was considered feminine, and the Trinity was the Father, the Mother, and the divine child here. And so the other thing that made them quite radical at the time, this is France too, southern France is where the Cathars come from. So this would be equal roles for both men and women. So women served as spiritual teachers, healers, and perfects, spiritually initiated Cathar guides. And unlike the Catholic Church, Cathars allowed women to teach, lead ceremonies, and transmit spiritual wisdom. And this was a big one. They had the codes to sacred sexuality as a means to ascension, right? So this is the merging of the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies. And they completely rejected patriarchal control and priesthood and that kind of hierarchy. And they also were really against the corruption of the church. You have to remember the church had a lot of power in the 1200s, 1300s. It wasn't until the 1600s when Henry VIII left and formed the Church of England. They had a lot of power over even the monarchies, right? So they were really against the corruption of the church. They could see it. And the commodification of salvation, right? That you can pay your way into heaven. So they followed the direct knowing, right? Gnosis from the soul, not through books or the intellect. And they're quite a peaceful people. And there ended up being almost 1 million of them, right? And so it was spreading, right? It was spreading. And they didn't need the church, right? They lived very, very simple lives. They didn't need a church per se. They would just weave in prayer and meditation throughout their day. But they were very knowledgeable, and they were receiving a lot of knowledge directly from their own soul, right? So, of course, the church is very threatened by that, right? They were threatened by the ideology of the Cathars, right? So what did they do? They sent the military to hunt down the Cathars. And so many of these Cathars were burned alive. They were burned alive. And they say up to 1 million Cathars were exterminated in 100 years. So this is like, there's very little written about the Cathars because they wanted to eliminate all that spiritual knowledge, right? And so I was going deeper into this. It's like, why burn? Why burn these people? And this is what, remember I was talking about that last video. I can even feel it a little bit now. My lungs were hurting. It was like I feel like I was smoking, and I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke anything. But my lungs were filled with smoke while I was tuning into this line, right? So we're in a spiritual war. I want people to know that. We're in a spiritual war right now, and we may not see it on the external, but it's going on. It's going on. And powers that be, right? These church folks, they know spiritual law. So the reason why they burned and traumatized this fractal of Cathars is they didn't want that knowledge to continue. So it created a spiritual fragmentation. So this is an extreme trauma to discontinue the memory of the Cathar fractal line, right? So it creates a disruption of the fractal line. So there's all this accumulated wisdom, right? And their teachings were passed down through initiation, not just with words, with frequency. So they carried the codes of divine union, sacred sexuality, and spiritual law. So when they were burned, these fractal lines were interrupted, right? So mothers died before they could initiate their daughters. Sacred texts were destroyed. Soul groups disbanded by terror. The body silences. There's a lot of wisdom in the body for the divine feminine. And then the voices were sealed shut by flame. So spiritually, what's happening here, right, is the body stays. The body needs to stay for 72 hours, right? 72 hours after death, after the soul leaves the body. And this allows the soul to go on its bardo. So that's like the life review, and it learns its lessons and integrates, has the memory, and then moves on to the next life, right? And continues. Well, this way, they destroy the body because it's burned, and they also traumatize the soul, right? So this disbands, this disrupts this fractal line so that they knew what they were doing. And you look at the families that rule the world today, this is why they practice incest, right? Because they want to keep that wisdom within their fractal line, right? And so it's like they were thinking of ahead of their future. Well, we don't want these people coming back and causing problems again, right? We're just going to destroy them, spiritually destroy them, right? So not only that, so not only do people from the Cathars, fractal, they not only incarnate with this unconscious fear of their power, right? And they have no memory of their past life. They also incarnate with the same men who betrayed them, the ones that didn't protect them, and the ones that turned her over to the enemy. This went on too, right? So these men become their husbands, their boyfriends, their lovers, their partners, their karmic relationships, right? So if you're resonating with this, with the Cathars, you've incarnated with these men over and over and over again for the last 800 years. So this is what's called a soul trap, right? And you're bonded by the karma and trauma. So what's driving this karma is this deep belief. Well, if I just give him more of me, he won't betray me this time. This is happening at the unconscious level, right? If I remain small, silent, and put him on a pedestal, he won't turn me in to the authorities this time. If I just give him my body, he won't abandon me, right? So this is the soul trap that you've been in for 800 years. And the soul is seeking resolution. So you need to remember that planet Earth is not our destination, right? It's not our destination. We're supposed to evolve and grow as souls and keep moving on to other galaxies, other realms. But we can get trapped here on planet Earth, right? So this is one of the traps right here, the soul trap. And where do I want to go here? So how this can happen is you can hide, right? You have all this knowledge, you have all this power, but the soul is traumatized by the death it experienced 700 plus years ago. And it follows you even today in 2025, right? So this makes you fear your power, fear visibility, so you move under the radar, because this meant owning your power meant death, right? Back then. Fear of visibility, so you move under the radar. Fear of speaking, so withholding, keeping secrets, hiding. Often the high priestess in hiding is they're loners. They don't really let people get to know them. There can be throat problems, thyroid, like a weak voice. And then this ADHD, ADD, right? And this comes with the indigos, right? The indigos. This is the Pluto and Scorpios. You'll see a lot of Pluto and Scorpios with ADD. What's that about? I had it too. I got diagnosed with ADD. It means that you're not embodied, right? I was on medication for it and everything. It was causing me a lot of problems. And then I started meditating. I started to feel the fear in my body, right? All that fear in the body, and that started to release. And I became more grounded, meaning more of my soul came into my body, right? But you've come from a crisis, like an extreme crisis trauma of the soul from way back then, right? Of course you've got this. You don't feel safe, and your soul is fragmented. There's part of your soul that needs to be reclaimed through this trauma. There can be a huge distrust in your intuition and your healing abilities, right? There can be fear of spiritual men, right? There can be sexual wounding, right? Giving your bodies over to weak men who don't treat your body with reverence. There can be a lot of shame around your body and your sexuality, right? Because that meant death to hold this, right? To hold these codes. You can feel sexually unfulfilled in this lifetime because you know that there's more, right? And you're hypersensitive to your environments here. So these are signs of the High Priestess is in hiding within you, right? She wants to start to emerge now within you for the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So she may be buried under not self, right? Not self and ego, your coping mechanism, right? To survive. Okay, so how can it manifest in this lifetime even more? Well, you look at control disguised as love, right? Passion mistaken for purpose, trauma bonds replaying the fall of your power, right? It's just an echo of what happened to you in the 1300s. So you attract these karmic counterparts from way back then. They were there. Here he is, right? He just looks different now. So he echoes the Inquisitor, not in robes, but in relationships. And so he tests your devotion through pain and pulls you back into the pattern of be loyal, even if it costs you your soul, right? So yeah, you don't remember, but your body does. Your body remembers, right? So now Neptune in Aries returns, and what's going to happen this time? Are you going to get out of this soul trap? Are you going to finally stop it, right? It's up to you. So there's a vow that was made, right? The Divine Feminine makes an unconscious vow. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, right? If I stay small, right, I'll stay silent. I won't rise again. I won't do it again because last time I did it, I died like a horrible, horrific death. So this is where you confuse trauma with romance because it's familiar. That feeling is familiar. You've confused control with safety. And why you can go into romance is you're completely disconnected from your body. You're in your head with the weak man, head to head, right? You've confused control with safety, obedience with love, right? You've tolerated karmic partners because their energy felt familiar to you. This is the trauma bond, right? So what feels familiar is just what has been repeating lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So the good news here is that in 1321, a prophecy was made by the last of the Cathars as he was being led to his death to be burned at the stake in the south of France. Right? So the complete annihilation of the Cathars, that was the church's goal. They thought it was complete, right? Just wipe them away. Well, what did he say? He said, we shall return in 700 years when the laurel turns green again. We shall return in 700 years when the laurel turns green again. Add it up, 1321 plus 700 years is 2021. And this is just in time for the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So there's a lot of Cathars that are awakening. And I'm pretty certain that you are one too. So laurel, what does laurel mean? That means the plant of victory, immortality, and divine favor. And this means that the frequency is correct, right? For you, the high priestess, to come out of hiding, right? And when you come out of hiding, then this knowledge is going to start to release from your body, these codes. And I'm going to show you what you can do, right? So what's different now with the 2025, 2039 when Neptune's in Aries and the gate 25 unlocks with your frequency? Well, the fractal remembers again, right? So the Pluto and Scorpio women have come in now and said, enough. I'm going to feel it all. I'm going to feel it all. I'm going to go way back to the 1300s and feel it all. And I'll walk through the shame and the rage and the ache until I retrieve my fragmented soul. Right? So how do you remember? Your body remembers. Your nervous system remembers. Your womb remembers. Your physical womb and your energetic womb remember. Your subconscious mind remembers because you made a vow to return. And that's why you're here. Right? So let's look at what you can do. Especially if you relate to this. Well, you want to let this information simmer, right? So you may have dreams. You may have like release, like coughing and feeling what I've been feeling, like though there's smoke in my lungs. There can be phobias, right? This like paranoid, like terror of being seen, right? No, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to step into my power. I'm going to cling to this karmic, right? So just let the information simmer. It will work, right? And you want to trust your body. And you want to look at this karmic in your life, right? And I know this because I was with a karmic relationship, and my body never felt relaxed around her at all. And sometimes the veil would lift. Sometimes you'll have that, like just the veil will lift a little bit, and I remember looking at her, and it's like I just had this sense that she was my jailer way back when I was being brought to trial to be killed, you know. And yeah, and then I just talked myself out of it. It's like, oh, that was just my ego, or, you know. But no, I was getting a glimpse into a past life with this karmic. So how does your body feel around this person? I couldn't relax, right? Tight, constricted, or are you relaxed? Do you have problems breathing, even speaking? Do you have headaches? Do you have body pain around this person? Is your nervous system on high alert, right? How do they smell to you? That's a big one. I never liked the way she smelled. And again, it's like there's something wrong with me. Why don't I like the way she smelled? And I have been with women who are on my fractal, and I loved the way that they smell. I couldn't get enough of them, but I didn't like the way she smelled. And then what happens to your body when you think of having sex with them? Like, just don't be in your mind and like your people pleasing, not self-ego. It's like, just be in your, how does my body feel? Just thinking of being intimate, like having sex with them. How do I feel? Does my body open or close? Right? How does he react when you show your power? When you speak up? When you question him, maybe? Question his authority. Well, how is he when you express anger or sadness? When you take your space? When you stop obeying and you stop staying small? How does he react? He's going to show you, right? So the deconditioning process, and maybe you're not sure, right? Maybe you're not sure. Well, just Ra talked about this in Human Design, is with to sleep alone. Because when we're lying horizontal beside one another, we're deeply conditioned by that other person, right? So that means that you're being pulled into your not self. You're being pulled out of your power. And so just to start this process will help you start to decondition into your own energy, where you can step into your power. And then meditate is good too. And then it's just about being aware, like really, really be aware of your body, like with everyone. Like, how do I feel in my body? And if your body's relaxed and open, then that person's on your fractal. They're part of your soul destiny, right? But if you're tight and constricted, they're not. They're not on your fractal line. And it's a soul trap. It's a soul trap, this karma. So you want to meditate and then practice my Narayan meditation every day. And I have that on my website. I'm going to put a link to it. It's really relaxing. You just lie down and you listen, right? And this will help your nervous system to relax, because that's the key, is the nervous system. You need to be in the right environment so that your body can relax, and then you can come into your power as a divine feminine, right? And you want to be loving your body. Right? You want to relax your body. You want to love your body. You want to honor your body, right? You're not giving your body to weak men anymore. You're honoring it. You're going to treat yourself like the divine feminine, right? So you want to relax your body, love it, and will guide you where you need to be. So the other thing I want to say that's needed for my fractal is I'm going to offer these readings. I'm not like making a big deal out of them, but I'm letting you know that, I don't know, I'll do them for a month or something. So on Thursdays, and it will be about is this person my twin flame or is it my karmic? And the chart doesn't lie, it tells you. So we'll do a deep dive in the synergy chart, the composite chart, which shows you the purpose of the relationship, and it will show you if you have a future with this relationship. Is it taking you to your soul's destiny? Are you growing and evolving? Or is it a soul trap? Right? And then how do you get that? It's like, okay, what's the lesson with the soul trap? And it's usually standing up for yourself, right? Valuing yourself, finding your self-worth. So what you do, I'll put a link, and then you're going to email me, and then I'm going to send you a link for payment and a questionnaire, and I need the partner's birth data, preferably their time of birth, but if you don't have his time of birth, then we can work around that, okay? And this will show you clearly. So I'm not going to be like mainlining you hopium. I'm just going to like, this is what the chart says, and is very, very accurate, so that you can untangle yourself from this karmic relationship, because it's siphoning your power is being siphoned away, and it's like an echo from the 1300s, 1200s. Okay. Okay, so let's get into the readings. Okay, so let's start off here with the twin flame here. And what would a twin flame reading be without the devil? Right? There's the devil again. Okay, so what's this saying? The soul contract. So to bring in mind this relationship, right? This primary relationship, Pluto and Scorpios, fractals, right? So 9 of Cups reversed. What's the soul contract? This is not about wish fulfillment. That's what this says. It's the illusion. So this is either your twin, right? Or your karmic, right? So this is the promise. Well, when I get him, when I get them, then I'll be finally whole. So this is an old soul contract of spiritual longing and looking for something external to you. The contract is looking for something external to you. And if you're on the twin flame journey, as soon as you get into this energy, this is called chasing. It's not going to work. So if it's with your karmic, then this is not about your wish fulfillment. It never was about your wish fulfillment. It was your karmic assignment, right? The karma coming back. The loop. So what looked like safety was spiritual starvation, right? What seemed like devotion was a denial of your essence. So this wasn't love. That was the false flame returning again. So this time disguised as commitment. This time he came disguised as commitment, right? But it was not your wish fulfillment. So the message here is you're not waiting for your dream to return. You're remembering it was always within you. Your dream is in you. It's not outside of you in this relationship. So the mirror here is the devil in the Wheel of Fortune. And this is a karmic trap disguised as your destiny, right? This is the trauma bond. This is the addiction, the obsession, the feeling of being pulled by fate, but bound by fear. So what's the wheel saying? This is not fate and destiny. This is your loop. This is your soul trap going over and over and over and over again. And the devil is like, it ends when you stop feeding it. When you stop feeding it, it ends. So the message here is this isn't your twin flame. It's your soul pattern reflected through shadow. So it's not fate. It's just this wheel is broken. It's like a broken record over and over and over again for 800 years, right? Here. And then the wound, it's your divine feminine, right? So this is you gave your body, you gave your life force, you gave your gifts, and you were used. You were used. You weren't cherished. So this is says that there's a fracture, right, within your feminine, your cellular memory, right, your womb memory, and it's if I give my love, I'll be abandoned, or if I just give my love, right, I won't be abandoned and I won't be controlled, right? If I just love this person enough, I won't be abandoned or controlled. So this is a deep karmic pain of overgiving. So much so that it's become an identity. It's become an identity for you. So you don't need to prove your love through sacrifice, that you are love, right? And then the flame here is the Chariot sideways. And this is when it's upright, it's moving forward. So it's been stalled. Your soul wants to move, but it's been stalled. So the fracture here is you got 1 foot in courage. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm going to go. I'm going to leave. And then you got 1 foot in codependency. So this says you're supposed to move forward, but only when both these horses, because one horse is going back and then one horse is going forward, both horses need to be going in the same direction. Yeah. Okay. So it's about choosing your direction, right? And committing to it. Okay. So this is, I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting for my karmic to show up and to change and rise. And then the other part of you is, I'm out of here, right? So you go back and forth with the Chariot sideways. So the illusion here is the 4 of Cups. And maybe if I wait, he'll rise. Maybe if I wait, he'll change, right? So this is the illusion of passive longing and divine timing as delay and settling for breadcrumbs, right? Breadcrumbs being thrown at you. And there's love all around you, but you're obsessed with that 1 cup that never truly gave back. So this is saying that there's love around you in your life, but you're obsessed with the one that's not that karmic, that just won't give back to you, right? And that's from the past life, right? So stop waiting for the one that won't see you, right? That won't meet you. And the divine has been trying to reach you all along. So the choice is the Star. So this is the soul is choosing despair or destiny. So do grieve the false flame or step into the hope of your higher path, right? Do you grieve the false flame or step into the hope of your higher path? So this card says healing is not passive. It's conscious, right? And it's about devoting to yourself. It's having faith in yourself again, right? Faith in the divine again. Moving out of this Four of Cups energy, right? So it's also saying that it's not too late to believe again. But this time you've got to believe in you. Not your karmic, but to believe in you. So the next act of self-honoring is the Six of Wands, the Ten of Wands, and then the Three of Swords reversed. So this is saying that let yourself rise, right? Six of Wands, let yourself rise. Ten of Wands is like put down what's not yours. You're probably carrying this karmic, right? It's like put him down, it's not yours to carry. And this is about you bring the process of pulling out these swords, the Three of Swords reversed, not through revenge, but through release, right? So you can be you can have victory without being vengeful, and let the grief be your fuel, right? Not your prison. And that's the work that you have to do, is just grieve. And I know it. I know what it feels like. It's intense when it's with a karmic relationship. It's not like you're just, you met somebody like a week ago. You've known this person for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. There's grief, right? Even people with Stockholm Syndrome, they still have grief. It's called attachment, right? So it's getting the poison out. This is the venom, remember that I talked about with the snake and the peacock? This is the venom that you have to release through grieving. And then your spirit ally is the octopus, right? So the octopus is intuitive, entangled, and she feels everything, the octopus, and often overextends to stay connected. But the octopus also regenerates limbs and reminds us that you don't need every piece of yourself returned from them to become whole again. Right? So don't think that your karmic has some energy that you need to get back, right? So reclaim your energy from every tentacle that reached too far. You're still whole, even with parts that never came back, right? You're still whole. So whatever didn't come back is not you, and this person doesn't have it. You want to be doing soul retrieval, and that's bringing all of you back, right? All of your power back, all of your gifts, all of your talents coming back. So the anchor card is Temperance here. And this is about rebalancing. It's about integration. And it's about alchemizing the pain, right? And this is so that peacock and snake story. Remember, the peacock hypnotizes the snake with its beautiful spots, and then eats the snake, and then alchemizes that poison, right? So this is this grief. You're going to alchemize this grief that comes up and to greater awareness. It's going to expand your awareness and your point of view, and it's going to bring you into your power as the High Priestess. Yeah. So you're now at the bridge point, the Temperance says, right? And it's pretty clear. It's about letting go, right? So the final message, you don't need to burn it all down. You just need to let, like with anger, burn it down and law bombs. You just need to let what was never loved just dissolve, what was false, right? Let all this dissolve. That's all you have to do. Okay, so there's the twin flames. And so apply that as with your karmic or your twin flame. Okay. And let's go for the MGs next. Manifesting generators. And so the question here is, where am I wasting my life force? Trying to be loved. Trying to get love. What's the MGs doing here? You got the Ace of Wands reversed and then the Ten of Swords. So you've been giving your energy, your life force energy, to a connection that can't hold it. They can't hold it. So the spark that you used to feel, Ace of Wands reverse here, it's gone dim. And not because you're broken, because your creative life force, like your mojo, has gone dim, because your creative life force has been leaking into a dead timeline, right? And this is this relationship. So the Ten of Swords, this is the Ten of Swords here, shows you that it's goodbye. It's a karmic death. And your soul already said goodbye, but your nervous system didn't get the memo, right? So your soul already said goodbye. The nervous system didn't get the memo. So let this be the end, MGs, right? Let what burned be buried. And you're not meant to light fires with people that won't protect it, right? Now. And then we've got, what are you saying yes to? But you're being drowned out by my sacral saying yes, but I'm being drowned out by my overcommitments. And then you've got the Ten of Pentacles reversed and the Eight of Swords reversed. You wanted legacy. You wanted a family. You wanted to build a family. You had a shared vision. You wanted that. But you've stayed in something that can't build with you. It's reverse, right? This karmic can't build with you. And so the Ten of Pentacles reverse says you're carrying their vision, not yours. You're living their life, not yours. It's their vision. It's not your vision, but you're carrying it. So the Eight of Swords reverse shows that your soul wants freedom, right, from this, wants liberation. But your mind keeps justifying why you should sacrifice. Well, we're married, we've invested all this time and energy together. We own all these things together. And that's just a mind game, right? Justifying why you stay. Your soul is like, it's gone. It's already gone. It's dead. So you can have commitment without confinement, right? You can build sacred legacy without bleeding for it, begging for it. It begins when you trust the part of you that wants out, right? That wants out. And trust that part. And then you've got, what are you being invited to walk away from with clarity, not shame? And you have the Two of Pentacles reversed. So this is, you've been invited to walk away from the wobble, being in between, right? One leg in one timeline, one leg in the other timeline. This juggling of it, should I stay or should I go, right? Headaches, right? If you have headaches, that's what this is about. Is this love, right? With this karmic, is it love or is it trauma? I don't know. Is it sacred, or am I making it sacred because I'm afraid to grieve it? I'm afraid of the feelings. And this card says you already know. Two of Pentacles reverse says you already know. And the shame is not your story anymore. It's not your story anymore. So the message is there's never a right time. There's no right time. There's only right now, right? In this present now moment. And your sacral already chose. And you're just catching up with the truth. The choice has already been made. Your mind has to catch up with the truth. And then you've got the two animal cards. You got the horse and the rabbit. So the horse represents freedom, momentum. It's you were made to move, and it's such an MG card too, right? The horse. MGs like to be on the move. And the rabbit is fertility, speed. New life is coming, but you must leave the den. So together these allies whisper, you're not here to serve the relationship. You're here to serve your flame, right? You want to get that Ace of Wands upright, right? You want to serve your flame. And the fire is asking, will you run free this time? Will you run free this time? And then the anchor card is the Nine of Cups. Right? And so this says your soul still believes in love, but not the kind that you chase and that you have to earn, right? The kind that meets you where you already are, whole, radiant, and return to yourself, right? So that's what the MGs are working with. And then let's go for the projectors here. And look at the Nine of Cups again. So this is, you've offered this, the projectors, you offered someone the Nine of Cups, and they just, whatever, right? They just took it as convenience. You gave them your presence, your peace, your light, your guidance, instead of seeing the miracle of meeting you, a projector. They took your stillness for stability. And you've been manifesting from longing, hoping your contentment would be enough to inspire change in them. Not asking, right? Not demanding much, just whatever, I'll take the crumbs I can, you know? And so with projectors, you don't chase. This has a bit of chasing energy on it, right? The projector sees. She holds space. She's amplified the energy around her. She sits in stillness, and the right people feel seen, safe, and softened by your energy. But when she offers that stillness to someone who's chaotic, wounded, or karmically entangled, her sacred stillness becomes their emotional crutch. Right? So they're using you for that. Right? They're not rising to meet you. They lean into your light, and it turns out to be a lounge chair. Like, I'm just going to stay here. I'm not going to work on myself. I'll just stay around this projector. So, you know, and they'll say, it feels so peaceful to be around you. But what they really mean is, you calm the war inside me so I don't have to face it. Right? So in a sense, you're like an enabler. You're enabling them to not do their inner work, this karmic relationship. And here's the trap. Right? If I stay long enough with this person, then they'll eventually wake up. Maybe if I show them real love, they'll recognize me. Right? And value me. Maybe my presence is enough to change them. Right? So again, it's like looking outside of yourself. So this is where true invitation for you projectors of love is trying to come in, but it's blocked by this entanglement. Well, this is the Page of Wands reversed. So this says there's a new vision, a new path, a creative ignition waiting for you, but you keep putting that fire on hold for this person. Watching someone else's evolution instead, right? It's like, I'll start when he wakes up, when he comes around pattern. So this is the false twin, right? I'm not moving forward until my twin shows up, and then I'll go forward, right? So this is delaying your real mission with just getting distracted with this false twin. So the spark isn't gone, it's just buried under disappointment because it's reverse. So you want to let yourself dream again. And the next invitation isn't to save this karmic, it's to become the light that you already are. So what do you need to reclaim to see this, to be seen in truth? Well, you've sacrificed your legacy, your vision of a spiritual family, your deep soul work, because part of you believed in this karmic, you believe this karmic flame was your family. So you sacrificed this. But now you see he was never capable of building with you, building a life with you. You know, right? You've been trying to build something on shifting sand. So you're not just a guide, you're a builder of sacred legacy, this is saying. But it starts with reclaiming your right to lead without apology. And then you've got the Strength card reversed. And this is the strongest thing you can do right now, is stop trying to hold it all together. You're allowed to fall apart. You're allowed to be held. You're allowed to rest. And this is this card says you're confused. You've confused resilience with worthiness. You thought if you stayed graceful and guiding, they choose you. But now your soul's saying, let go. You don't need to be strong for somebody else's weakness anymore. Right? You don't need to be the strong one in relationship. And the thing is, like your real twin, your real divine counterpart is going to meet you in your strength, right? They're not some project to be fixed, you know? And then you got the spirit animal. There's that hawk again. And this is vision, it's elevation, it's precision. So the hawk sees from above, not through entanglement, right? She doesn't hover. She's not checking, right, and chasing. She's like way above, right? She soars. So your vision is sacred, projectors. And your altitude is your protection. So stop flying in circles around somebody who refuses to rise with you. It's time to giddy up and move on, projectors. Okay. And let's go for the manifestors. The manifestors. And look at that 9 of Cups again. I didn't notice how many times. Because it came up in the twin flame, the MGs, projectors. I think it's the last time here. That's crazy. There's the manifester. And again, I just shuffle, right? I bless the cards. Bless the cards. I tune into my fractal and I just shuffle and then they start jumping. They start jumping. Okay. So you got the 9 of Cups there, manifestors. And this is where have you been holding back your power to keep the peace, right? So it says that you've been in a peaceful environment. You've been holding back your power in a place that's already peaceful. That's what this is saying. And so you've told yourself it's calm, I should be grateful, but in reality you've been playing small. You've been playing small, manifestors, to avoid disturbing someone else's emotionals, what they need. So you denied your wild truths in order for some spiritual serenity. So peace, right? You're silencing your voice, manifestors, right? And so peace is not an absence of your power. Well, it's peaceful, right? Because that's all the manifestor wants is peace. And it's like, well, I can't speak because I'm going to upset this peace that's here because I want this. But meanwhile, you're completely denying your power, right? So what truth do you need to speak to set your soul free? And you got the King of Wands reversed. So this is about the false masculine energy, domineering, phony, fake, right? Playing at being spiritual. Maybe he's charismatic, but ultimately threatened by you and your flame. So this man may have been magnetic at one time, but he's very controlling. So he didn't celebrate your power, he competed with it, or he shrunk it, right? Or shrunk it in his presence, like you made yourself smaller. So your truth is, I don't need to bow to this king who fears my fire, who fears my power, right? I'm not the torchbearer of someone else's ego. You don't want to be tiptoeing around someone else's ego. So you're not here to tone it down. You're here to speak the fire, even if it burns the illusion down with it. So what are you here to initiate? Now, not later, right? Not tomorrow, not smaller, not quieter. And it's the 6 of Pentacles reversed. So this is, you're meant to stop initiating toward those people who only receive you when they want something. They're only around when they want something. You're not to initiate things with these people. So your energy is sacred. Your voice is currency, and you don't owe anybody your magic. Not when you're treated like spirit change, you know? So withdraw from the spaces where your gold is being treated like glitter. And you're here to initiate, right? With clean co-creation. So there's an out of balance energy here. And this is not charity disguised as love. And then you've got the King of Cups reversed as the anchor card. This is emotional manipulation when it's on the reverse. And so this is unavailable men wrapped in spiritual language who swim deep feelings but have no anchor. They're not stable. They're not your divine masculine. So this is the wound, right? This is the wound. And the wound is that you've been trying to understand. You want to be trying to be you want to understand, but you want to be understood by someone who can't hold your emotional weight and punishes you for naming what he won't face. Right? The divine feminine needs a strong divine masculine that can hold that space for her. Right? So stop asking for emotional intimacy from someone who only offers intensity. You don't need a king to feel with you. You need one to stand with you. Right? You need one to stand with you. Someone that you can count on, manifestors. And then the spirit animals you got going on are the otter and the swan reverse. So the otter is the innocent heart, the longing for connection. So it's a reminder that true play and joy come when you're with somebody who meets your frequency. And this is your inner child, right? That remembers what safe love feels like. And then you've got the swans reversed. And this is grace. It's a rejection of your own beauty. And the mirror has been clouded by karmic distortion. You're not seeing your beauty. Right? But this is inevitable. The swan's going to come back up again, upright, eventually. And she'll rise again, regal, reflected, and unapologetically seen in herself. And that's for the manifestors. Okay, and now let's look at the generators here. Hey, no Nine of Cups. Okay, so what's the generators' question is, where have the generators been spending energy that's no longer aligned with their soul response, with their sacral response? And you got the Chariot reversed. And so this is what you're trying to force something that your body said no to a long time ago. You're trying to force something with your mind. So this is the generator burnout loop, right? If I just keep giving, maybe it will work, right? If I stop now, maybe I'll lose everything. I got to keep going. I got to go for broke, right? I already put so much in. But the Chariot reverse says you're stuck because you're not stuck because of failure. You're stuck because your sacral never said yes to it. That's why you're stuck. So you're reacting from fear, not responding from truth. You're in your not self mind. So the message here with the Chariot reverse is to stop pushing, stop dragging the cart of a connection. This connection that never had wheels, and it's okay to rest now. So what does your sacral truly desire to respond to in the now? And you've got the Ace of Swords and the Hierophant. So your soul is striving for clarity, for structure, for truth. And you want wisdom that you can trust and spiritual leadership that doesn't gaslight you. You don't want that. Devotion that's mutual, not manipulative. And this combo said that you're not just seeking love, you're seeking integrity. So your sacral wants to respond to truth, not charm, not charm. The one who leads with clarity, not charisma, and the one who builds with you, right? Sacred law, not sweet words, right? That's in here for the long haul. And then how can you restore sacred receiving without guilt or shame? The Eight of Swords reversed. You have to untie the cords that you put on yourself, right? Because no one is withholding love from you now. You're withholding it from yourself because you believed if I leave this, I'm a failure. I must be too much. No one else will understand me like he does. But that's not love. That's the trauma echo, right? With this Eight of Swords reversed. So this is unbind your heart from guilt. Love was never supposed to feel like a cage. And you don't have to earn receiving. You're allowed to have it just because you exist. And then the anchor card is the Four of Wands reversed. And this is the false twin when it's in reverse. So what was supposed to be a sacred union, generators, was built on a shaky foundation of longing, projection, and spiritual bypass, not doing your work. So you imagine this homecoming, but it became a holding cell. And this card shows that the illusion is breaking, and as it falls, your soul is saying the real celebration begins when I stop calling pain, right? Love and my purpose, this pain. And then what do you got for the, you got a bunch of them. There's rabbit, oyster, and sea serpent reversed. So rabbit says that your sacral power is reawakening here. So that's good. And then oyster says that your gifts are still hidden. You've been too closed protecting your pearl. You've been protecting your gifts. Right? But now the tide is shifting and the shell, your little oyster shell is going to open up with the gifts. And then sea serpent reverse says sacral energy is in distortion. Creativity's blocked. Your life force is looping. You've lost your turn on because you've been giving out of obligation, right? So hopefully that can help you out, generators. But to stop forcing something that's not in alignment with you, with that chariot reversed. Okay, let's go for the reflectors. And the reflectors, and they've got the Four of Pentacles there. Let me just check what question I asked here. So what pain are you still carrying that was never yours to begin with? The Four of Pentacles. Well, you've been holding on to fear and energetic scarcity and a pain that doesn't belong to you. You've been clutching, right? Look, clutching the emotions of others, mistaking these emotions for your own intuition. And somewhere you decided, if I let go of this, I'll lose control. But reflectors don't control, they clarify, right? So reflectors clarify, they don't control. So your message here is this fear is inherited and the scarcity is not yours. And you're allowed to let go without losing yourself. So you're allowed to be empty, not as a void, but as a vessel. So what's the truth of your soul's desire in this lifetime? Ace of Wands. To light your own fire, not someone else's fire, not the karmic twins fantasy, and not your family stories. You want to create something original, erotic and fierce, right? Ace of Wands is erotic. You want life force that flows from within you, not something borrowed from the room. So you didn't come here to carry the flame. You came to be the flame, reflectors. So desire is not dangerous, it's direction, right? So let your passion rise. So what kind of relationship truly supports your sacred reflection? The devil. And what does this mean? It means you've known bondage, right? Disguised as something sacred, something spiritual, right? But it's actually bondage. You've been entangled with men who mistook your depth for a healing potential. You merged with their shame, right, as a reflector, and you've let him project onto your mirror until you forgot that what your own reflection looked like. So you've been attracting in these devil figures The right relationship is the one where you're not needed to absorb, explain, or heal, where freedom is prioritized over possession, and where the mirror stays clear. So you're not the container for his shadow. This is the shadow. You're not the canvas for his wounds. You're the mirror, and the mirror must stay untethered. And then the anchor card, oh, the old King of Swords reversed, right? So this is the false teacher, right? The man who speaks truth but lives distortion. He's cold, the cold intellect. Spiritual bypassing disguised as clarity. And you've mistaken his authority for safety. So you don't need to be understood by the cold king. You deserve to be witnessed by the one who feels you, feels you. And clarity isn't words, it's resonance. And you know this as a reflector. So what are the animals here? Well, you got the peacock reversed and you got the lizard. So this is, the peacock is radiant, self-expression, beautiful, and ready to be seen again. Reflectors are ready to be seen again. Fully, boldly, without shrinking. And this is their sacred vanity, the shine without apology. Right here. And lizard, this is the intuitive dreamer, the skin shedder, the shadow walker. And she can feel when the space isn't clean, lizard. But now she must stop morphing to survive it. She must shed the skin of the past, her past flame, right? So the final thing for the reflectors, right? And I think all the types can relate to this reading right here, is you're not the psychic trash can, right? You're the mirror of the divine, sacred mirror of the divine. And you don't need to hold it anymore. You drop the pain, drop the shame, and let your reflection be your own. So this karmic flame that's distorted your light, this devil figure here, right? The true one, he doesn't look at you to see himself, right? The shadow, this devil figure looks at himself to see himself, but the true one, your true counterpart, doesn't look at you to see himself. He looks at you to remember God, remember the divine. Okay, so hopefully you gain some value from this transmission, and be sure to write down your comments. I love to read them, and this may be a good step for the ones that are in hiding to just like come out and write a comment in my comment section. And you know, if you're on the fractal, then you're allowing yourself to be visible, and then other people can see you that are also on your fractal, right? Okay, so just a reminder about the twin flame reading, and I'll put a link below, and you just email me. I send you the payment link, the questionnaire, and then we'll go a deep dive, an hour and a half worth of this energy chart and the composite chart too. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this, and be sure to like, subscribe to my channel, and you can follow me on Telegram, Instagram, and then I'm on YouTube community as well. Okay, so I will see you on when? Friday. Okay, so namaloha everybody. Take really good care of yourself.